I've had this Mustang for 15 years and it's been sitting for about 5, maybe 4. So the first order of business here is to get this thing to manually roll over the pile of kitty litter I've put down to absorb the gas that leaked out of this about a year ago. So I gotta pull this thing by hand to get it far enough back to jack it up. It's a heavier car than it looks. I tried to push it backward and it's on a bit of a downward slope here in this shop and it doesn't want to seem to move. So last tire, I gotta fill up with air on this side and then I'm gonna try to roll it back far enough to clear that shelf right there and assess the damage that happened to this thing when I first. All right, I rolled it back enough. Chocks are going down because it wants to go forward. I can't tell you how many times over the years I've jacked this thing up, building it from nothing. I know we got a support right here on the frame. We're gonna get right into there. Just like that. Let's get this thing up in the air. So there was nothing wrong with this car at all when I parked it. And since it sits so low off the ground, when I was bringing it into this shop, the collector on the header snagged the threshold of the floor, and when that happened it ripped the collector off because I hadn't had the exhaust welded yet, and in the process it also ripped the linkage off the automatic transmission. So double whammy on that front. But we're gonna go ahead and get under here and inspect what's going on. That's pretty good off the ground there. 12-ton jack stands. All right, so 3-point support. Goes without saying, if you're doing this, do it at your own risk, but this is my shop. This is how I do it. So that's a 12-ton jack stand there on the front. That's a safety, so that's basically the fail-safe. So shit hits the fan, that holds it up by the frame. Secondary fail-safe is leaving the jack with the pressure off of it. So it wanted to just come down just a little bit. If you watch that jack head, boom, moves down. Then I do nice and tight, come up 1.25 pump and leave it there. And then the primary support, which is here on the side frame rail. So 3 points of hold. And the reason why I run with the 12-ton is that, say the strut that goes up and down the jack stand fails, it's at its bottom point. So that can't drop and fail anymore. So it's on 1, 2, 3 points of support to get under here. So let's look at the game. First of all, look at how ridiculous this thing looks up in the air. So we're down here. First order of business. See that collector right there? That, well, the fuel injection system on this car won't run too good unless the exhaust system is completely intact. And before I get the comments about the clamps, yeah, no shit. I know this needs to be welded on, right? I get it. We were getting to the point where we were taking it to the shop to get some exhaust to actually put on this car. So I get it. I understand. This is not the right way to do it. We know. But if you guys have been doing this stuff long enough, sometimes a temporary fix is what you need to get them on the road and get some testing done. So that's kind of where we were at here. But right now, car is completely rendered useless unless the O2 system is intact because it's fuel injected. So I basically have to make a connection again, like this one, where we're all clamped up. So that's the first order of business. Second is, you can see somewhere there on the floor, here we go, that right there is the automatic shift linkage that got ripped off the bottom of the transmission. And really it's because this car just sits way too low, but that's another problem for another day. But that got ripped off the bottom. So I've got to reconnect that and kind of remember how I built that. It's on this slotted arm up there, and that's where that little piece that fell off goes onto. And it's a weird little archaic setup the way it works, but it works. So I got to get that put back together. So right now we got 9/16 bolts and whatnot to put back on this exhaust system to join this shitty flex pipe back to the collector flange. So that's what we have to do. So when the exhaust got ripped off the car, that's what it did to the shit. You can't see anything right there. Hold on. So when the exhaust got ripped off the car, that's what it did right there. And that's why this won't go on quite as good. So luckily I've got enough actual pipe to cut this exhaust flex pipe down, get this to refit back on there, and then somehow join this back up to the header collector. So let's get this thing cut, get this connection made again. Yep. So that was a pretty good cut, and that will go right on here like this. Just got to put a clamp on it. That's as good as it's ever been. So it's on there the way it should be, clamped, tightened down. So this part's a pain in the ass because you got to slip it onto this, which is rough, and then you got to get it back onto the collector down there. So it's a thing. So we got to get down there and see. All right, about an hour later, the exhaust is connected as good as it's going to get, and the linkage is reconnected down there. It's not my best work, but it's a patch until I can assess the state of this thing after it's been sitting for so long. So it's time to get this thing off of the jacks and safe again. My little guy likes to come in here, my little girl likes to come in here, and I don't want this thing up in the air like this. So let's get it down. And thumbs up if you appreciate a Mustang video. It's been a while. Back down on solid ground. So it's a bit later on in the night, just had some dinner, got the keys here. This thing hasn't been started in almost probably 4 or 5 years. I can't imagine. Yeah, so we're gonna see if this thing will fire up. It's in a stable state. I've taken the interstate out of it, unfortunately, and put in an RV battery. So I mean, we're on bare minimums here to try to see if this thing will work. But right now we got a cold engine, nothing going on. Little boy's ready to go. That's why we're doing this, right? So here's the engine before we fire it up. So if you guys remember, I mean, I haven't started this thing, you can see. If you guys remember, I fuel injected this a long time ago. I had a gas leak in the back. I mean, there may be a little bit of gas in here, but I'm gonna try it anyway, just for entertainment purposes here. See if we got the right, I don't even know if the right key in here. Let's get the right key. Coming on the way it should. Let me go check the fuse because I got nothing here, no lights. So when I built this thing, I put in an anti-theft breaker on here, somewhere in here. I gotta flip it, can't see good, but let's get that turned back on. Now it's connected. Okay, I reconnected the breaker, key on. That's about right. And that's the Poly Sniper fuel injection, initializing. Ready, buddy? Sounds good. Oh yeah. Battery voltage out. Probably no gas. Well, we know it works. Yeah. Well, there's the aftermath of the day. Lots of stuff. But the Mustang lives again. So my goal is to try to get some more videos of this thing up. I say it all the time on my channel, but let's shut this fan off. It works. It's dusty and looks like a barn find right now, but you see she is alive. That's 5 years of sitting right there. So time to clean this shop up. Probably clean it up tomorrow, and then start going through this thing and getting it done right again. So hope you guys enjoy this kind of content. You know, it's kind of a BS video, but kind of a cool ending. Got it working. So I definitely didn't think that was going to be on this video. I thought it was just going to be my kind of farting around with it, and then that would be it. But it actually started, so that's awesome. And my little guy got to actually hear this thing run, which is that's what makes it all worth it. So thumbs up, guys. Get you in the next one. Later.